program you are about to watch contains actual police video and photos taken from the investigation's master file. St. Augustine, Florida detectives Kip Brantley and George Harrigan have flown across the country to speak to the man sitting in interrogation room number 1. They're investigating the mysterious disappearance of 52-year-old Brittany Tavar.
We had no idea where she was at, whether she was dead laying on the side of the street or in the woods. We had no idea.
All I knew was that there were very suspicious details in this case. And the only person that had that information was going to be sitting across the table from me in this interview.
I don't know where this is going. Obviously something you guys aren't telling me.
It's going to take all their skill to get their suspects to talk. Every day, murder suspects and investigators come face to face in the police interrogation room.
I did not kill my mom.
It's where detectives separate truth from lies.
And you're gonna sit here and tell me this crap?
The innocent from the guilty.
Well, can I talk to a lawyer?
It's a place where cases are closed with killer confessions.
What's going on?
George Harrigan, Kip Brantley.
Joseph? What do you go by, Joe or
Joe.
Joseph? Kip Brantley, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry.
Though it's the middle of the night East Coast time, Florida detectives George Harrigan and Kip Brantley walk into Seattle Interview Room 1, knowing now's not the time to let fatigue slow them down. It's been an arduous 3-month search, but they've finally tracked down the man they want to talk to about the disappearance of Brittany Tavar.
Brittany is a beautiful girl, always kept herself very physically fit, very athletic, very artistic.
Thanks to a sizable inheritance, Brittany is financially secure and doesn't have to work, allowing her to express her charitable nature.
She was generous with everyone, all of her friends. If they needed something, she would buy it for them. If somebody needed a place to stay, she would let them stay there.
It's a wonderful life, one Brittany shares with her 2 cherished Bichon Frise dogs, Huey and Coubert.
She went everywhere with her dogs. Every day she would walk them, take them to the beach. She just loved them. They slept in her bed with her at night.
But at the time of Brittany's disappearance, a dark cloud was hanging over her idyllic life. For the past 1.5 years, she's been embroiled in a bitter dispute with a neighbor.
Brittany used to be in a friendship with a woman who lived close to her. They attend the same beach club. During that relationship, things went south. They had several disagreements, several falling outs that led to Brittany being in fear of this woman.
My sister felt like Agnes was stalking her. That's one of the reasons why she carried a video camera, recording all the time. She was afraid something was going to transpire.
And what happened one day, Agnes took her camcorder and threw it into the water.
What do you think you're...
And so Brittany filed a report with the police.
Brittany asked for a restraining order against Agnes and waited for the case to make its way to court.
That's all she talked about, the court date, everything she did kind of revolved around that and getting ready for it.
At 8:15 a.m. on Wednesday, July 7th, when the case is called, Brittany is nowhere to be found.
When my sister missed her court date, we were very, very concerned because we all knew how afraid she was. So we're thinking, voila, well, my sister was fearful. She disappears right before the court date. So it was like a perfect storm.
So I thought, okay, I'm gonna give her a little bit of time. I knew right away Thursday when I did not hear from Brittany that something was going on.
Brenda reports Brittany's disappearance to the sheriff's office. But with no evidence of foul play, they tell her there's little they can do.
So we took matters into our own hands, hired a locksmith to gain entry to the house.
Brittany? Brittany wasn't the queen of clean, and the house was just immaculate. The floors had been cleaned. The dogs weren't there, Brittany wasn't there, the truck wasn't there. We knew something was going on.
Armed with the new information, Andrew and Brenda take the case back to the St. Johns County Sheriff. This time, they take on the case. And after ruling out Brittany's contentious neighbor, investigators turn their focus to a man named Joseph Roberts.
We learned from friends that she had met this young man named Joe at a local bookstore. During conversation, she learned that he was somewhat good at computers and she was interested in some computer work. So they started a friendship, and at some point she offered him a room in her home in exchange for the work that he would do for her.
Joe lived in Brittany's home for about a month before her disappearance.
With her being missing and he was nowhere around, we didn't know exactly what happened, but we knew we had to find him to find her.
Roberts makes it easy by using Brittany's credit cards, leaving a cross-country trail of receipts.
We were able to view Brittany's vehicle on video pulling into some of these gas stations, and it was very clear that this same individual, Joseph Roberts, was the one that was present.
In fact, Roberts is the only one present.
We could not see Brittany in these videos. It made me think that we were dealing with something much more serious than a voluntary missing person.
3 months later, St. Augustine detectives get the call they're waiting for.
We get a phone call from Seattle PD saying that Joseph Roberts had been arrested for shoplifting and that they had him in custody.
I literally wanted to drop everything I was doing and just drive to Seattle right then.
36 hours later, the detectives are sitting in an interview room with their suspect.
Are you from here, Joe?
I lived in Seattle for a while when I was growing up, like grade school, beginning of middle school.
We knew that Joseph Roberts was very intelligent. We had a nationwide extradition on him for stealing a vehicle, so it would only be a short period of time before he realized that Florida law enforcement was very interested in speaking with him. I was afraid that the longer time went by without us being there in front of him, the more time he had to process what was going on and prepare for us.
And since they have nothing tangible linking him to a crime, they desperately need Joseph Roberts to talk.
We really had no evidence that any crime was committed other than he had our vehicle. So we had to be very careful to where we didn't spook him into wanting to lawyer up and not talk to us.
Our goal was to not immediately lay all our cards on the table and tell him, we're from Florida, we want to talk about Brittany. So I walked in without basically telling him who I worked for so that he would just assume that I was from Seattle law enforcement.
Well, what brings you to Seattle?
Old friend, and I don't know, just I needed change, so.
Old friend?
Yeah, old friend I hadn't talked to in a long, long time. Hit me up and so we got to talking, and I came up to here to see her, and that was about it.
A female friend?
Mm-hmm.
It's always women that make us run all over the country, right?
Yeah, they do. They do tend to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just go right into, why'd you do this? How did it happen? Who did it? I didn't want to go into that. The goal is not to rush it. I don't want them to feel rushed because the subject of the interview is going to get scared and defensive right away, and there's no sense in that. I tried to walk him down the path of, let's talk about this car. You know, why did you have the car? Who gave you permission for the car? How did you end up with her credit cards?
What, do you have a vehicle, or you borrowed somebody's vehicle, or what?
I borrowed somebody's vehicle.
Okay. And whose vehicle was that?
Girl named Brittany.
Brittany from?
Florida.
Florida. What's her last name?
Tavar.
Okay.
We met in a Barnes & Noble, and she wanted to start up a business, and I was in a real rut down in Florida, and I said, okay. And then she goes and buys me a computer so that we can get this business started, right? The problem is that once I start getting going on this, I'm the one starting up the entire thing, and while she's helping me out a lot, it didn't work out.
And I was like, look, I have a friend in Seattle. I'd like to get to Seattle. Can
go to Seattle, and is there any way you can help me get to Seattle? And she was like, okay, yeah, you can take my car and go to Seattle.
Roberts says the plan was for Brittany to fly out and reclaim her car after he arrived.
Her family lives on, as far as I know, in California. And she was gonna pick it up, drive it from Seattle down the coast on the 101 or whatever that highway is, and see her family and treat it as a vacation.
Just didn't make sense to me. It just didn't make sense that someone would let you use their car to travel across the country, then they would fly out later and drive it back, and they would let you use their credit cards. But I felt like it would be more important to establish a rapport versus being confrontational. So I held back.
Instead, Detective Harrigan gently starts quizzing Roberts about his use of Brittany's credit cards, hoping he will let something slip.
Well, where's the first place that you had to stop for gas? You remember where the first place was?
No.
You remember what state you were in?
Well, it probably would have been North Carolina, I think.
It was actually in South Carolina. On July 8th, the day after Brittany failed to show up for court, a Bichon Frise dog is found roaming the streets of Hopkins, South Carolina.
It was taken to a local veterinarian up in Hopkins, and when they scanned the dog, they found a microchip.
The chip leads authorities to a local St. Augustine vet, who identifies the dog as Coo Bear, Brittany's prized companion. Her other dog, Huey, is found 2 days later.
Brittany would never have separated herself from the two dogs, so we knew something was extremely wrong.
They were basically children to her, so for Brittany to dump the dogs on the side of the road and remove their collar, highly unlikely. The homicide detective in me said, this is probably a homicide. We're probably never going to see Brittany again.
Once the dogs were located, we got our CSI team and we went into her house looking for any type of evidence for disturbance.
Our crime scene technicians did find what they believe were trace amounts of blood, but these were very small amounts.
We don't have a major crime scene indicating that there's been a homicide or a murder that has happened at her house.
Which means their suspicions that Brittany has met with foul play at the hands of Joseph Roberts are purely circumstantial.
Most likely we had a strong theft of a vehicle case or a fraudulent use of a credit card case, but I knew going into this interview that I had to make this something more. It's safe to say that everything hinged on this interview.
Luckily for the investigators, Roberts has had limited contact with the outside world since his arrest.
Joseph Roberts had no idea whether we had found Brittany, whether someone had seen him destroying evidence, saw him dump the dogs in South Carolina. He had no idea if I had that information. So I used that to my advantage during the interview.
They even keep Roberts in the dark about who they are and why they're there.
You said it was a Monday when you left?
Yeah.
Like how long ago? Like you remember what Monday?
Oh no, it
What
was
month are we
Tuesday when I
talking
left.
about?
It was a Monday when we were fighting. It was like...
While Detective Harrigan leads the interrogation, Detective Brantley watches for subtle changes in the suspect's body language that might signal Roberts is cracking under the pressure.
As a detective, they teach you about what to look for with individuals on nervousness, their gestures.
Then, at about 11:15 p.m., 15 minutes into their interview, they spot something.
3 or 4 days. It's pretty much from there to there. And then when I got here, I couldn't even find the person I was supposed to be coming here for, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of a busted trip.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then, obviously, and then just shit went really wrong.
Joseph had these yawns that he kept doing during the interview, very unrealistic yawns. You could tell that it was a fake yawn. It was either to stall his mind so he could come up with an answer for us, or to make it sound like he was maybe tired and his mind wasn't as quick, and so if he messed up or said something, oh, I'm tired, I hadn't had any sleep and so many hours. So it was very obvious when he was doing the yawning to us that something was very suspicious at this point.
July, maybe?
Okay.
Either way, his behavior says he's anything but relaxed.
August. Has to be July, I think.
The truth is the truth. You shouldn't have to think about what you're going to say. For me, that was a turning point in the interview because I knew that he was trying to consciously make something up to tell me.
Sensing he's on the right track, Harrigan presses Roberts for details of his cross-country trip.
Did you stop anywhere else and use the card other than gas, or was it just gas and...
Gas and food, I think.
You're locking them into a statement, and then we start looking for little holes in a story, and we start just jabbing away at those stories, those little holes.
Yeah, you know what? I did stop at a Walmart and pick up some stuff.
And see what truth we can reveal and what comes out of that.
Well, I basically drove through, I went up to Indiana.
I like to hear him talk. I like to hear how he talks, his voice inflection, the way he takes us down the path in his head. And once again, all of these factors just led me to believe that he was absolutely not being truthful with us.
They ask about July 10th, the day Brittany's car is pulled over for speeding in Evanston, Wyoming.
I got pulled over, and I actually thought because I hadn't heard from her or anything, and I was actually kind of worried because I didn't have an ID at the time, and my driver's license was in Indiana, and I thought she might have called it in or something. That's why I thought I was getting pulled over at first, so I kind of freaked. But
the detectives quietly nod and listen as Roberts digs himself deeper into a hole. They wonder, why would Roberts be worried if Brittany had loaned him the car?
During this entire interview, Joe seemed very hesitant to talk about the traffic stop in Wyoming. He was very concerned that we knew much more than we were telling him. I think he had to be concerned about that. It only makes sense. Did someone find Brittany? Did they have knowledge? Is he getting stopped because of what happened in Florida? I think he struggled with how much he opened up to us because he had to have a balance. He wasn't sure how much he should give us. He had to give us these answers as if, oh, I was scared that Brittany had called in the car as stolen, that she was mad at me because I hadn't contacted her.
Harrigan seizes the opening to ask about his communication with Brittany while he was on the road.
What was the plan? How was she supposed to call you? Did you have a phone at the time?
I had her cell phone.
Okay, so she was supposed to call you on the cell phone.
Yeah, she was supposed to call me on the cell phone. And unfortunately, the cell phone died because I forgot to grab when I left, I didn't have the charger with me.
The strategy of playing their cards close to the vest, keeping Roberts in the dark about what they know, seems to be working. When Roberts makes an unexpected admission.
I figured something happened and she got pissed at me, and I'd also kind of screwed her over a little bit, so because I took some money and some jewelry.
Roberts tears through his professed veil of innocence by confessing he stole from Brittany.
Did she find out about that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
So you don't know? She never confronted you about that?
I haven't talked to her about it since I had.
How much money did you take?
A couple $100.
I think at that point, he wanted to figure out if we knew anything or not and get a feel of what we knew or we didn't know.
The rapport detectives Harrigan and Brantley built with Roberts is slowly paying off when he unexpectedly turns things upside down.
I have a question for you. I mean, car theft is one thing. Why is my bounty so high?
That's a good question.
A few hours earlier, a judge set bail at $500,000, 100 times more than a typical bond for a stolen vehicle.
$500,000 bond for a stolen vehicle. He was smart enough to realize that that was a pretty high bond.
Walking into this interview, I knew Joseph Roberts was a very intelligent young man. He certainly was not stupid for all intents and purposes. So I was waiting for some of these questions. I knew some of these questions would come up in one way or the other. So When he did ask about the high bond amount, basically his suspicion, because he's got this high bond amount for a stolen vehicle out of Florida.
But it's the first time Roberts hints he knows the game they've been playing.
I knew that was going to be a turning point in the interview. I think he was trying to shift gears and put some of the burden back on me so that he could take it off of him. So it was concerning for me.
It's too soon for Harrigan to come clean about why he's really here. Telling Roberts they're investigating a homicide will almost certainly shut the interview down.
I think Joseph knew the answer to some of his questions, and I simply turned that question around just to see how he would respond to it.
The warrant's out of Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's concerning that it's that high.
Yeah.
I was hoping that maybe you could shed some light on maybe there's something more to the story than just that. I don't know. I mean, is there something else you stole from her that is more important than a car? I mean...
No, as far as I know, just the car and the jewelry and the cards.
Right.
Harrigan can see Roberts is skeptical, but he continues his line of questioning until Roberts stops him in his tracks.
She let you use one of them, but she didn't know about the other one, right?
I think I should probably get a lawyer.
When those words came out of his mouth, it took the wind out of my sails. I felt like we had hit a brick wall.
You think you probably should?
Yeah, I think I need to talk to a lawyer, because I don't know where this is going. Obviously something you guys aren't telling me. And yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but
okay. Well, can I talk to a lawyer? I mean,
absolutely you can. That's your right.
Awesome.
We were empty-handed at that point. Basically, we're going to go back and have to tell the family that we don't have any more answers than what we did before. Was going to be very disappointed.
For the first time, the interview room falls deadly silent.
I was hoping at the end of this case, I was going to be able to call Brittany's friends and her family and tell them exactly what had happened, whether it was good news or bad news, and I wasn't going to be able to do that.
And to make matters worse, detectives know in their hearts they have Brittany's killer.
We knew we had the story. Something bad has happened to her, and he's responsible, but we had no evidence to prove that.
They can't help but wonder if it's their responsibility. Had they picked the wrong strategy?
If I had her body, if I had forensic evidence at the house, maybe I would have been more confident. Maybe I would have been a little more assertive and asked him some hard questions. But I didn't have any evidence that I knew.
Desperate to keep Roberts talking, Harrigan decides to play the only card they have left in their hand, the family card.
Well, listen, because you said you want to talk to an attorney, you're a smart guy and you know I'm not going to ask you any more questions about the case. But I do want to tell you, your family's very worried about you and they do want to talk to you.
Detective Harrigan is not blowing smoke.
So listen.
Weeks earlier, they spoke to Robert's family looking for background information.
We were able to make contact with an aunt who lives in Indianapolis. She shed some light on his past for us. We learned that he actually spent his childhood in the Seattle, Washington area.
His mother was homeless on the streets. Joseph doesn't know who his father is, possibly a homeless guy as well. His mother wasn't able to care for him. His grandmother was trying to help raise him.
Destined for a life on the streets, Robert's aunt steps in and offers him a more promising path.
Joseph's aunt flew out from Indianapolis and took custody of Joseph, and he was raised the rest of his high school years in Indianapolis.
Roberts proves to be a smart kid. At 18, he goes off to college to study computer science.
He was smoking marijuana, and he got in trouble. They kicked him out of the college. He went back to Indianapolis and lived for a short time.
But after a falling out with his aunt, Roberts packs his bags and hits the road.
He became a drifter. He had a vehicle, he had clothing, he had a computer, and he really didn't have a plan. He just started going south and ended up here in St. Augustine, Florida.
We promised Joseph's aunt in Indiana that if we made contact with him, we would give her the opportunity to speak with him.
Do you want to talk to your aunt before I leave? Do you want me to get you on the phone with her?
Yeah, sure.
What we were hoping is that maybe she could talk him into speaking to us about the case. That was our last resort.
I need to know my options before I come back to you.
Of course, I understand.
For a long, awkward moment, Harrigan stands silently, trying to come up with something, anything, to keep the conversation going. But he has nowhere to go.
There was a part of me that really just wanted to get out of the room for a little bit. I just needed to kind of cool off.
Hold on just a second, we'll get you on the phone with your aunt.
I went through several emotions. I was frustrated, disappointed, angry.
It's disappointing that you don't get that confession that you wanted, and not so much just for us, but for the family as well, because the family has all their hopes into you and finding out what happened to their loved one. And when you go in and you get nothing, it can feel like a failure.
Their frustration is compounded since Brittany's family and friends still have no idea what has happened to her.
At that point, I wouldn't say we lost all hope, but we were also sad that it appeared more evident that there was foul play.
I already knew she was not alive. I really just was thinking, let's just find her. That's all I wanted to do, just find her, so, we can get some closure to this.
For the next 31 minutes, Joseph Roberts, the one person who might know where Brittany is, sits in Seattle PD's interview room 1, alone.
We could see him on video while he was sitting there. I felt like he was hard thinking, but I didn't have any hopes.
Detective Brantley tries to reach Roberts' aunt in Indiana. Perhaps she can convince her nephew to do the right thing and confess.
She never answered, so we waited about 30 minutes to see if she would call us back, because we kept ringing the phone, leaving messages, and she never called us back.
54 minutes into the interview, detectives have no choice but to shut it down.
We really didn't have any evidence to arrest him for homicide at this point. So our only option was to start at ground zero again and start trying to see if we can locate Brittany and see if we can link Joseph Roberts to her disappearance somehow.
I can't get your aunt on the phone.
Yeah, it's a little late.
It's late.
When we walked back into the room, it was simply to let him know that we couldn't get a hold of his aunt. At that point, I was hungry, I was tired. I'm 3,000 miles away from home. I just wanted to get out of there.
Maybe I'll try to set something up where we can hook up with you tomorrow and let you talk to her. Or I'll just tell her to somehow reach out to you. I don't know how it works over at the jail, but I'll tell them to reach out.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Then, Roberts shocks everyone.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Joseph Roberts rescinds his request for an attorney.
The weight that was on my shoulders, and I'm sure George's, it was like, oh, this is awesome. This is great that he is reinitiating with us and wants to talk to us.
I was surprised. At that minute, I knew I had to sit down and listen to what he had to say.
At that point, you don't surround them and start throwing a whole bunch of questions at them. Go ahead and let them talk. I was ready to listen.
I have a couple requests.
Okay.
First, my nerves are shot.
Mm-hmm.
I want a cigarette really badly. Is that something you can make happen?
Let me check and see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, we'll find out. All right, request number 1. What else? Don't ask for like a helicopter and stuff like that.
Damn, that was exactly what I was gonna ask for.
All right, they said we can make the cigarette happen, but they have to do it afterwards. It's not our police department, so
Okay.
we don't have the rules here.
I guess they're probably worried about doing it here. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a spring
But-
head there.
Can't go out on the.
Yeah, he said we'll go out on the patio. He said, but they have to wait until.
Can't go patio and then come back and then.
I tried.
All right.
I tried.
What else? Is that it or something else on your mind?
I don't think you guys have control over anything else. I mean, I don't know.
You're intelligent. You know how the game is played. Obviously, cooperation means a lot when someone thinks about whether somebody's a monster or whether there's somebody that made a mistake.
Right.
And simply put, that's what it is.
Well, and I'll tell you this: I made a huge mistake. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened. I don't even really remember it. I freaked out, and I ran.
I was skeptical. I didn't know if we were going to get a story that made no sense or just that he had been sitting in there this whole time thinking about another lie to tell us. So I was very skeptical.
The detectives keep the pressure up by pretending to have the upper hand.
We pretty much know what happened, but
Okay. Well,
what actually occurred that
I don't honestly know. I know I was extremely angry. I know I was really upset. I knew that my gut was telling me to leave because I was so upset with how things were going. Tuesday night, we got in an argument basically, and I was pissed. So, and she wouldn't shut up about the stupid court case that she had to go to, and I'm talking when she wouldn't shut up about it, and I was supposed to go with her the next day to court. And that night she came to me again and said, "Hey, I need you to do these videos up for me again and make me 2 DVDs. I was like, okay. We got in an argument about something else. I don't really remember anymore exactly the details of it, but I made the DVDs and I left them out on the counter. And I remember waking up and hearing her go off about something, and I don't really remember much after that. And then I remember standing over her and she's dead and there's blood everywhere. And,
We'll take a deep breath for a minute and think about the part that you're leaving out. Like how she ended up on the floor with blood all over her. I mean, how did that happen?
honestly, guys, I don't really remember. I don't know.
He said, I can't remember, I blacked out. I can't remember everything. But we let him talk, and then we go back and help him try to remember.
When traumatic events happen in people's lives, they could black certain things out or try to put that out of their mind. I believe that he still had this in his memory, and I could see it in his eyes.
Just take your time. It's gonna be difficult, you know, to remember because your mind wants to block it out, and you just have to kind of try to concentrate and take your time and think about it.
Roberts then recalls the morning of July 7th, 2010, the last of Brittany Tavar's life.
I remember waking up and hearing her go off about no names on the DVDs, and I came out and I was yelling at her and calling her an ungrateful and then I picked up something and I hit her.
Do you know what it was that you picked up?
Hammer, I think.
How many times did you hit her?
I don't know, too many.
I think once he got past that initial stage of starting to tell us the details, I think it became easier every second to tell us the details. It's very hard to hold in that kind of information, and he had for a very long time, and he had no one to talk to.
And he wanted to get that off his chest, and so we let him spill his guts.
Are you sure that it was a hammer?
Yeah.
How many times do you think you hit her with it? More than once?
Yeah.
More than 3 times?
Probably like 5, maybe. I don't know.
Where? In the head, body?
Head.
We were shocked at the brutality of it. He picked up a hammer and actually pounded her in the head, which tells me that there was a lot of rage and anger there.
Now our worst suspicions are a reality. You know, Brittany is no longer with us. But just because we had obtained a confession does not mean this is over.
Defense attorneys can come in there and pick things apart. So the more detail you get, the more solid your story is, the more solid the evidence is.
As Detective Harrigan leaves the room for a phone call, Detective Brantley steps in.
So what did you do?
What did I do?
Next, after she's laying on the floor, and
I covered her up with a blanket for a while, and I kind of freaked out and went and bought a pack of cigarettes, and then sat on the back porch and chain smoked about a pack of cigarettes until I had decided what I was going to do, and then I did it. And which was basically clean up all the blood, pour bleach everywhere, and basically my goal was to buy time. I didn't think I would be getting away with anything. I just thought I would be buying time.
Roberts also knows he has to dispose of Brittany's body.
He told us that he tried to put her body in the attic, and he said rigor mortis had set in, so he literally couldn't fit her through the opening.
He decides to put Brittany's body into the back of her car and wait for nightfall to dump it.
at that point you had to make a decision about what to do with the dogs.
Right, the dogs. I decided to take them with me because I knew if I left the dogs there, they'd make a lot of noise and cause problems.
The next day, as he passes through South Carolina, he dumps the dogs, assuming they won't be linked to Brittany.
How much do you know about the dogs? Do you know? Did you follow us recovering the dogs?
I do know you guys recovered the dogs.
While Roberts has clearly described the murder, he's not yet offered the detectives the last and most crucial piece of the puzzle.
The most important part of a homicide case is to prove that a homicide occurred. And to prove that a homicide occurred, you have to have a body. So that became a focus during the interview. I had to find her.
I know there's a piece missing. I don't know what happened, man. I honestly don't, because there was blood everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean it was all over the place.
Well, the biggest glaring question I'm sure you know I want to know is, where is she?
Okay, I can, not exact location. I can give you general spot.
That's a start.
You have a piece of paper and a pencil?
Yeah.
That would make life easy.
He seemed very confident, especially with wanting to draw us a map. I was very confident that he was telling us the truth at that point, because he knew that we were going to find out very quickly whether he was lying or not.
With the casualness of planning a fishing trip, the three men discuss roads, intersections, and landmarks.
Back here, there's a road that runs here, but they're like dirt roads or something.
It's before Lightsey Road, right, where the stoplight's at?
I'm not sure if it's before or after. I think it is before. And then there's a hill here, and then there's like a little thing, and she's like right there.
Now, is she buried or just tossed out there?
She's semi-buried. I couldn't get the shovel in, so it just kind of, no, not really.
She's just kind of laid out there?
She's wrapped up in
what?
Blankets and some trash bags.
Okay. Is she all together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harrigan leaves the room to contact his officers back in Florida.
It's very important to, as soon as we have that information, to process that information and deal with it, take action on that information.
At first light, the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office sends a CSI team to the location. There, they find a large black trash bag containing bloody towels, clothing, and some jewelry. A short distance away, they spot several groupings of bones, including a skull.
There were obvious signs at the scene of the blunt force trauma to the head as described by Joseph Roberts.
The remains are taken to the coroner, who uses the teeth to confirm what Harrigan and Brantley already know. It's Brittany Tavar.
I did speak with Brittany's brother, Andrew. Obviously, he was very grief-stricken, but he was happy because the family had spent a long time every day wondering if they were ever going to see her again, and at least he knew the answer to that question.
We were hoping for closure in that, one, we would find out what happened to her, and two, we would find out where she was. So we were relieved and we were grateful.
With the confession behind them, the tension in the room is lifted, and the interrogation becomes a conversation.
Did you know who we were when we came in the room? Did you know?
No, I had no idea.
In a moment of candid reflection, Roberts realizes the enormity of his actions.
You lost control, and it was rage, and
It doesn't
you don't
make
even
any
remember.
sense. I mean, let's just put it this way: if I look at it rationally, there's no freaking point in it. I've never hurt anybody else in my life. You know, she never did anything wrong by me. She was trying to help me. She was probably one of the only. Basically, I killed the one person that was trying to
help you out. Yeah, I understand. You know, and I understand how Brittany reached out to a lot of people and tried to help a lot of people out.
She didn't deserve this.
Kip and I were certain that this kid was not a sociopath. He was not some serial killer terrorizing people across the country. And we had empathy for him inside of that room.
But then, Roberts turns the tables one more time.
Is there anything more about the actual event that you haven't told us? I mean, was it simply an act of rage and he used a hammer, or was there a different weapon? Was there more violence involved?
All I know is there was a hammer, and there was a ridiculous amount of blood afterwards, and that she was still alive for a little while, and that her throat was cut as well, and I don't know how that happened.
Now, you're saying that because you're having an actual memory of seeing it cut?
I don't know how that happened. I honestly don't. Yeah.
Now, was her throat cut before the hammer or after the hammer?
I don't know. I would assume after.
So did you cut her throat because she was still alive for a few minutes?
No. I mean, it was after, but I honestly don't know, man. I really don't.
At some point, he realized that she was still alive and actually cut her throat to finish her off. So that concerned me because I had given him the monster versus mistake speech, but I think he went from mistake to monster when he took that knife and cut her throat.
Just revealed to us that he really didn't care about her life at that point, because he had the opportunity to go to the telephone and dial 911 for help. But instead, well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish her off.
Within minutes, he went from act of rage, making a mistake, to cold-blooded killer.
She fed him, she clothed him, and she gave him shelter. And he ends up taking her life. It is tragic that her kindness and her charity and her generosity led to her downfall.
Brittany Tavar was a very kind-hearted person. She genuinely wanted to help people. So very difficult to accept that she's no longer in this community.
Hey, Joe, we're gonna take you back to the jail. You wanna take those cards with you? Yeah. Just put them in your shirt pocket. Turn around.
We still gonna get you a cigarette?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still getting you a cigarette.
Hold on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me take this out. So you can smoke outside.
When Roberts is brought back to St. Augustine, prosecutors consider charging him with premeditated first-degree murder.
I can make an argument that smashing her in the head over 13 times is first-degree murder, because to me, every time you pull that hammer back, it gives you time to think about what you're doing. The fact that he also cut her throat was an extra strong piece of evidence for premeditation for first-degree murder.
You know, I think I should probably get a lawyer.
But Roberts' defense attorney counters by filing a motion to suppress his confession.
When someone invokes their Fifth Amendment right to a lawyer, you have to cease talking to them.
You think you probably should?
Yeah, I think I need to talk to a lawyer, because I don't know where this is going. Obviously something you guys aren't telling me. And yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but
okay. Well, can I talk to a lawyer? I mean,
absolutely you can. That's your right.
Awesome.
But do you want to? Is there anything that we can help you out with as far as getting in touch with your family? Would you like to talk to your aunt at any point in the near future?
So the question is, when they continued to talk to him after offering him to reach out to his aunt and stuff, were they trying to get him to like them so that he'd talk to him? If that's what it was, and a judge determined that, then he could have suppressed the confession.
Basically, I killed the one person that was trying to
help you out.
Prosecutors realize that without the confession, they have no case.
If he hadn't confessed up there, he probably still would have been extradited back here for the grand theft of motor vehicle, but the maximum sentence he could have got was 5 years on that, and at the end of the day, we wouldn't have had the body, no confession, limited circumstantial evidence connecting him to the crime.
Mr. Roberts was staying at Brittany Tavar's residence. An argument ensued when they were there.
Unwilling to take a chance, they offer Roberts a plea bargain. In 2014, almost 4 years after the murder, Roberts pleads guilty to second-degree murder and is sentenced to 30 years in prison with no possibility of parole.